Hey guys, today we're looking at the best champions to climb with in the top lane, and I've done a ton of these this week and I hope you're enjoying them, but I want to try something a bit different and include my pocket pick or underrated pick for this patch. So, Pantheon is a beast. It's literally as simple as that, and for this patch, he is my pocket pick. He's better now because he's like an anti-carry really. He's great against low health champions, but he is terrible against tanks, like really bad. Anyway, against the others on this list, he can do some real damage. He's so aggressive, he dominates lane, and that's perfect for solo queue. Once you do get that lead, unlike a lot of other top laners, you can roam bot lane, you can roam mid lane with your ultimate, and have a really big impact in the game. He has a really high win rate. He is risky, he does need to get ahead really, but he packs a serious punch, and that's why for this patch he is my pocket pick. If you like the idea of this little extra thing, then make sure you let me know by commenting down below or liking the video, and if you do, I'll be sure to do it for the other roles in future. Okay, proper tier list time, and number 5, Lissandra. Lissandra has a ton of damage built into her kit, but it's really kind of the team fight impact she can have that puts her on this list. She is better in competitive in my opinion, or if you play together pre-made, but she can still do pretty well in solo queue too. Sure, she can win a lane, she's actually pretty good in lane, but that's not really why you pick her. She has a safe lane, her Q slope keeps people away, and her E can be used to escape, even her ultimate to heal on yourself if you need to. Really, your main focus should be getting level 11 as soon as possible for your level 2 ultimate, and by then your Rod of Ages will be stacked a fair amount too, and you'll dish out some serious damage. Your aim really as Lissandra is to flank and get picks. Think of it kind of like a more heavy damage version of Malphite, I guess. You want to set up fights, you AoE lock down the enemy team, and then win fights that way. Speaking of Malphite, next up is Malphite. That flowed way better in my head, but oh well. Malphite is still really strong, but he's further down on this list just because of how the game is kind of changing a little bit. Don't get me wrong, this guy can carry and carry hard, but he's kind of like Lissandra. He's great when his team can follow up, but unless you're super fed, you just can't 1v5. The funny thing is, he actually does well against the top 3 here, and you'll make their lives really difficult in lane. The sad thing though is he's getting banned a lot because he is one of the only ways to shut them down. Being the engage for your team is really useful. It can let you pick the right time to fight, and I mean, a Malphite diving in is a pretty obvious thing, so you can't really miss it, and your team is almost guaranteed to follow up. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say next patch I can actually see this guy becoming even better. The new AD assassin item is going to be coming in, and it means that AD mid laners are probably going to be way more popular, and Malphite is so good against full AD teams. He is pretty easy to play anyway. You have some kill potential in lane, you are really hard to kill, and you still pack some decent damage. Third spot, Fiora. She isn't the easiest to play actually. Sure, she's pretty simple when she gets ahead, but her lane phase is not the strongest. She's kind of like Rise in a way actually. If you shut her down early, then she can't really do too much until she's caught back up. Now once you do get used to her though, she is a really scary champion. She has insane damage, good mobility which makes her hard to kill, and even her riposte, her W, which can block hard crowd control in team fights. This kind of mix between assassin and bruiser, semi-tanky but deals so much damage, is what makes her really strong at the moment. Now I might be a little bit biased because I'm an AD main, but really a champion should not be able to jump into a fight, kill someone, do a crap ton of damage, and then jump out again like Fiora does. She's kind of a weird combo really, like she snowballs really hard, harder than most champions, and she also has a really strong late game. It's like once she gets rolling and a few items, she just keeps on getting even stronger and even stronger until she wins the game. Unlike most carries, she actually does decent against tanks. She has like good sustain, her ultimate is going to help even more, and actually both her keystones, her Fervor Battle or Grasp of the Undying, whichever you go for, both are going to help out against them. Okay, run up this time is going to be Gangplank, and let me just point out first, okay, he is not that easy to play, and you can have literally 0 impacts in the game if you cock it up. If you suck with GP, just practice him in normals a little bit. Don't hop into ranked and expect to be a god because he's strong right now. He does a lot of similar things to Fiora, semi-difficult to play in lane but rewarding when done right, and snowballs very hard. He also has the obvious advantage of having some good poke in his kit. He doesn't really need to jump in and shove his sword sword up their backside like Fiora, he can sit back, hit them with a few barrels until they're low enough to whack up close. GP is actually okay at carrying bad teams in team fights, like he has a big team fight impact with his ultimate and his barrels, and he can actually turn fights really well with the surprise crit burst. His passive gold generation means he snowballs even harder and is actually almost always relevant even if he gets stepped behind a bit. Again, if you suck, you're not really going to do anything, but if you're good, then you'll always kind of have a few items because of that extra gold that you get. When I'm thinking about if a champion is hard to play against or not, I think about how many people actually rage about playing against them, because if people are raging, then they're probably not the most fun to play against. A lot of people actually rage about GP. You can't really get too close because he can explode his barrels, and actually in games it often causes people to get a bit frustrated, rush and walk straight into a face full of damage. Okay, first this time round is a new entry, and let me just say, she is first because she is the most well-rounded top laner that is great at every single elo. At like Diamond Plus, Master Challenger, I think Gangplank is probably the best actually, but you guys aren't all diamonds, so me telling you that is actually pointless. So, first thing is her damage. She has a high base damage, which means that she does well against squishy targets, but she also scales well with items, and even has percentage health damage on her Q, making her good versus tanks. So basically, yeah, no matter what type of enemy you're hitting, you're going to still hurt. The base damage also means that she's very flexible in what she builds, and no, please no pervy faces in the comments. Every time I say flexible, someone has to do that pervy face. She can build damage to hurt even more, or she can just build full tank to basically take no damage and rely on her base to kill people. Cooldown reduction is very good on her. You can keep people locked in place for so long with your Q, ultimate and E. It's really silly, and obviously you're going to pump out more damage by using your Q more often. She also has a few little interactions which I think are pretty good, like a ranged grasp of the Undying, which helps her sustain in lane really well with her passive. She stops dashes with her W, which is great for ganking people if you TP down or even just escaping ganks, and you can actually give your team a numbers advantage in team fights by flinging them away with your ultimate. I have two honorable mentions, okay, that I want to cover real quick. So first, Quinn. Yeah, I know she's supposed to be an AD carry, right, but she is so much better top lane. She's kind of like Pantheon in a lot of ways actually. You have a solid lane phase, crazy damage, and then you roam around with your ultimate and kill everyone. She could easily be in this top 5 actually, even pretty high up it probably, but you have to be really proactive, otherwise you won't really accomplish anything. Lastly, Rise, and honestly he's kind of like an AP version of Fiora. Everything I said about her can be applied to him. He can get tanky, he does crazy damage, and he snowballs like mad. Like if you start to get a lead on Rise, then you get the items you need and roll over the game. The problem is that he has a much weaker lane phase and can easily be abused, and yup, just like Fiora, if he gets behind then he really doesn't offer much at all. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, but for now I'm gonna leave you with the robots.
For the robots.